Everybody, thank you very much for coming back tonight to the pigsty. Let me know if the audio is coming through, the video is coming through, everything looks okay. Tonight we have been joined... well, I'm going to give Puck the floor, because Puck's never been here before. So, Puck, thank you very much for joining for the first time ever. So, yeah, I'll bounce to you, Puck. If anyone who doesn't know who you are, if you'd let them know who you are.
I'm Puck. I'm a recurrent host on some shows in the ACA. I have been out as an atheist for about 5 years, but I have been atheist for about 20. Aside from my work with the ACA, I also play a lot of video games on my YouTube channel. So
Puck Gaming, it's in the description. Puck Gaming is in the description. Your link's in there. So anyone wants to join Puck, if the link's there. If any of the mods can drop it in the chat, that would be great for us. We'll move on next. David, as your fucking face is on the thumbnail, I suppose we might as well let you talk for a wee while.
Yeah, sure. So for those that don't know, I'm David Wally. I did a podcast called the DRP, interviewing various different individuals from the atheist and secular communities. Its purpose is mainly just to try and advance the conversation, go into different directions that haven't been gone into before, and not necessarily be contrarian, but always to provide some sort of alternative. So if it's very deep, philosophical, theistic conversation, we'll just go in the opposite direction. We'll provide some sort of lighter form of entertainment and discussion. I also, if I may, have authored a book, Fantastic Fallacies, which teaches 50 logical fallacies for beginners. And the second book will probably, hopefully, be out by Christmas. So that's where I'm at.
David's link is in the description as well. I don't know. Maybe put something new up, David. Yeah, maybe something new.
Maybe.
Michael, working around the table. Michael, you're Canadian? That's about it, yeah.
Is there anything more? No. Hey, everybody. I'm Michael. I do a little bit of podcast with a dear friend of mine, Dean, called The Canadian Atheist. And we like to talk to believers about the things that they believe in, some of the silly reasons they believe in. And also go on to Christian YouTube channels. Toss myself into the lion's den and subject myself to them. It's awesome. Super fun.
There's some really interesting conversations late at night. I would do that sometimes too, maybe 3 or 4 in the morning my time. Like Gurmania is quite good if you haven't come across Gurmania as well. Michael will set you up with there. Like if you like dumpster fires and screaming at Christians, Gurmania is the channel to go to.
Oddly enough, most of my experience with Gurmania was is on Praise I Am That I Am's YouTube channel. Because he's a regular there.
Praise is special.
Yeah, Praise is special. I've actually had, I've had decent conversations with him. So I think a lot of people don't like him, but I've had decent conversations with him. And just to show a little bit, if you don't mind, tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern, I'm going to be on Standing for Truth's channel, debating PhD theologian Kenny Rhodes. And the thesis is the Christian God or no God. So that should be fun. I mean, the answer is obviously no God, but yeah.
Jim, everybody knows who you are, but go on, let them know anyway.
Screw it, man. Do I have to? All right. Let's see. Well, 2 days ago, I had Kenneth Humphreys on the show. If you guys missed that, that was awesome. And if you don't know who he is, he's the guy that the reason we're here. He was one of the pioneers in atheist YouTubing, like a dozen years ago or longer. So yeah, that was a fun talk. And then last night we argued for 2 hours about the Trinity. If that's not your type of thing, we're going to talk you into a coma, so you could avoid that one unless you really like that sort of thing.
And Godless Granny, last but definitely not least.
Hey, I'm fairly new to the community. I've only been an atheist for 2 years. I've had a channel for a little over 1 year. I guess it's going to be coming up on 2 years in about another 4 months. But I comment on a number of things. Trans rights and abortion are probably my biggest topics. I like to have conversations with theists and do like what Michael said, but because I'm still rather small and still rather new, I still have a little bit of trouble getting theists to come on my channel. I have had a few on that I've had some really good conversations with, though.
I find being smaller will probably help your channel more than anything else. Once you get bigger and you know, they're like, oh, I can't go on that channel. That's a dirty atheist channel. They just, as Untanglo's in the chat, you know, it wasn't Untanglo Spartan. Hating God is the only goal of the atheist community. I know he's pulling our chain, but
Otangelo is going to be on my channel on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Have fun with that. Have fun with that. We all love Untangelo. So yeah, we had a different topic earlier. We changed against it because I'm not educated enough in the topic for us to talk about it. Stop laughing, Jim. Stop laughing. All right, stop laughing. So we've decided to go. See, what happened was the topic came up. We're not going to discuss what the topic was. The topic came up. Back and
Let
forth.
Dave explain it. Dave knows more than you and me.
You
put
shut up a
together about
minute.
it.
Shut up a minute.
Okay.
And in that mind, it sort of sparked a thing because it was like, did this happen deliberately? Did it not happen deliberately? Is it a genuine mistake? Am I being sideswiped? This, that, and the other. And then it started me thinking, you know, Jim said something. Jim was like, do it anyway. You'll get great fucking views. And I don't know if that's the point. Now, I know that's the point of YouTube. Don't get me wrong in that. The whole point of YouTube is to get clicks. It is to get views, you know, monetization and have 1 million people subscribe to you and get all that big atheist money. But I find, as I said just before we were going live, I find what's happening now, I think you missed out on this, Jim, is the people in the community, like you ask anyone in this panel, we'll ring off what we are, right? I'm an atheist, I'm here to make content, we're going to try and show the fallacies and the problems with the religion, and we're all humanists, we're all naturalists, we're all materialists, we all aim down that road, you know, we're trying to do this, that, and the other, promote science. You know, other than stating that online, you know, what do we do about that? What, you know, do we actually do anything about that? Are channels now about saying that and producing content for entertainment? Or is it actually about bettering the community, bettering ourselves in both the online community, but more so in the actual real life community? You know, I just find that every year you get new people influx into the community, and around April, May, June you get the influx into the community. I'm talking, you know, the bigger, wider community of, including Puck, mainly with people from the ACA, finding stuff like that. You know, every year people come out, and around you get a bunch coming in, and I find that the same arguments, the same stuff is being regurgitated. You know, the people who have been here for years, me and Jim and David and stuff like that, and, you know, Simos who's around and Fabio who's around and all these, we've seen these arguments 1 million fucking times. It's not entertaining for us anymore to watch repeats. You know, imagine watching a show that someone's just ripped off from another show. It's not as entertaining as the original time. And it's just the same. I don't see it going anywhere. I don't see us actually fucking standing up and doing what we're saying we're going to do, which is why I then thought of this. So I wanted to see, you know, on people's opinions on this topic. You know, what is the goals of this community? What is the goals of individuals? You know, there's people in the community that are clearly doing this for clicks and views and money. And there's people in the community that are doing it to improve the conversation. But I don't know. I feel it's lacking. I feel we're letting the new people into the community down. I think we're setting a bad precedent that we're just going to repeat ourselves and feel big about ourselves because we're atheists and they're Christian and we're right and they're wrong. You know, I don't know. Someone fucking interrupt my rant here, please.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt your rant. Okay, so I think one of the things that I would like to you know, you talk about that. It's like we build platforms on YouTube, and part of the idea, yeah, you want to grow your following, and you don't want to, you know, you don't want to be running streams to an empty room. Like, how many of us started out our channels that way, right? Where we look at the viewer count, it's like 2.
Watching, yeah.
And you know that one of them is your wife because she promised she'd watch you, right? We all started out that way. And then we get this idea that we have something to say because people tell us, you have something to say, you have something meaningful to contribute, come out here and have it. But then what I also see is that we're a little directionless. And I think that part of that is because, I mean, other than a shared belief, what are we really doing here? So that's why I like doing what I do, because I like to specifically say that I look for the places where religion and secular society intersect. And I want to try to make this as peaceful of a ground as possible, where you know, I'm never going to get rid of all theists. It's not going to happen. They're never going to get rid of atheists, right? But we have to coexist.
Yeah.
And I think we're finding new grounds. Like just in this past couple of years, we found this new ground where there is a new battle, where there's a big intersect between here in America anyway, between evangelicals and hell no, I'm not going to get vaccinated. Right? This is new. We didn't see this coming 5 years ago. What's going to happen 5 years now? My personal guess is artificial intelligence and the rights for artificial intelligence, but there's no way for me to know. Right? So this is where I want to direct my attention. I want to see where religious beliefs are clashing with secular beliefs, where we have to share spaces. But I can't force other people to fight those fights. Like I said, all we have is this one shared belief, if you want to call it that. And I choose, this particular route. But if I want to continue this fight, I have to find other people to continue this. And by the way, that doesn't exclude theists, because there are a lot of Christians who are very much for the separation of religion and government. I would consider them allies more so than an atheist who does not believe in the separation of church and state.
Yeah. See, the problem I would have.
Issues,
sorry, go on ahead, Granny.
I think women's issues are going to be the biggest issues, at least in the next 5 years. Not only is the abortion issue huge, and the right is trying to suppress women through that, but you also look at the NIFB churches and even the more conservative mainline churches and the complementarianism that preaches that women are inferior beings.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that. I mean, you look at places like Texas that has pretty much ensured that a lot more women are going to die. They're not going to stop abortion. They're just going to make it less healthy and less accessible. And people will, like there were those horrible pictures, right, of the state of Texas formed out of a coat hanger. Sadly, it's not wrong. And so I 1,000% agree with you, Godless, on that issue. And yeah. But I want to go back to something MathPig said a second ago about, the same arguments. Part of the problem is the reason why we have to address the same arguments is because it's the same arguments that the Christians keep on bringing up. They're not bringing anything new to the table. So when they talk about the argument from contingency or design or kalam, we wouldn't have to keep addressing them if they didn't keep trying to tout those as the be all end all of why we should. Oh, by the way, it's got to be Jesus kind of thing.
I can see that. I can understand that. If the same thing's being thrown at you, you're going to throw it back at them. But the problem I see is then, when is this going to stop? As I was trying to say with Puck there, is Puck goes out of his way to try and find places where people of different beliefs are having to interact and try and sort that interaction so it's not so frictionless. The problem I see is they're becoming less and less and less because of the polarization of society at the minute. There is very few spaces where you can go and have that opportunity where you have Christians and you have atheists together. My biggest interaction, if anyone who's been watching the channel, is that guy that used to come into work and I would stay 2 hours after work and have this interaction with him because I have a fucking black car that says 666 on it and it caught his attention. I didn't go to church for that, I didn't. It was just a man on the street. It's fine. I'm trying to create them places. We need to go forward and create these areas and create these spaces where we interact, because I feel that they're disappearing. Going and looking for them isn't good enough. We need to actually make the effort to create them.
And I agree. I think Puck's goal is incredibly noble. I can't see a single fault with it.
No.
Well, thank you. Then it comes down to, like, one thing that I talk about whenever I'm given the opportunity to host an ACA show is that I am able to be on the show and I'm able to have the conversations with only a very small amount of people. Maybe a couple of thousand people will watch, but those thousands of people will have many, many conversations that I can possibly have. And if I can model how to have conversations, and if I can model, this is what I would like people to talk about, these are the things that I think are important, then they're going to go over to the water cooler and they're going to see Bob from work, and Bob from work is going to say something anti-mask and anti-vaccine, and now hopefully we're giving them some ammunition to take to the water cooler and say, well, Bob, tell me why you believe that, and what, what gives you that confidence, and what do you think would lower your confidence in your position. So that's one of the reasons I do the shows that I do, is to give people that hey, other people believe what you believe, here's how you can have that conversation.
Yeah, and you just said a mouthful there. Sorry, I'll just say one last thing, and then I'll shut up for a while so other people can talk. There was, there's a guy who's taken some heat in different communities for a long time, but he said something that was absolutely brilliant, and I repeat it often. His name's David Smalley, and he said never pass up the opportunity to have a conversation, because the next mind you change could change thousands.
Right.
And so, like, that's, again, to what Puck said, and I'm not trying to blow sunshine up anybody's ass, but it's incredibly noble to have that conversation, to have those conversations.
Blow all the smoke up his ass you want, man. It's the first time here. I want him coming back. Make him feel comfortable.
I'm uncomfortable with the blowing the smoke up the ass thing, but if you're into that, cool. Not my thing. I'm not judging.
I thought as well, even though the picking of the people tonight totally wasn't originally for this topic, I think Jim and David are good points, good opinions to get on this, both for the reason that it came to the point we're not going to use words like burnout or boredom or anything like that. Just make a statement. Both Jim and David left the community for a while. No content, not about, fuck off, the whole lot of it. I'm not going to say give me the reason for it or this, that and the other, but there's obviously a problem. There's not something that wanted to keep you here. And David, you're a big person in it. Jim, you're a big person in it. You have voices. You've been here for years. And even at that, you felt that you needed to take a step back. You felt that you needed to walk away because there was nothing that was holding you here. There was nothing that was giving you a reason to hang about.
Jim, you can...
in my defense, MathPig, in the back of my mind, I always knew I was going to come back. It was a 7-month break, and I had 27 shows in the can, and there was at least one video, one quality, what I consider quality, but that's subjective, I guess. Well, at least one video put out each week. So there was for the fans and the patrons, there was not a break in the activity. But yeah, in the back of my mind, I knew I was coming back. And just so you know, I wrote down 7 goals. Like I categorized 7 goals, and these are every atheist YouTube channel falls into one of these 7, and they lean heavily on one, and they kind of bleed over into the other. No one channel is just one of these, but each channel will concentrate on one and then bleed over into a couple of the other ones, and I can list them off later, but just keep that in mind.
But what I was trying to get to, Jim, was I know that you say you're always coming back, but you still needed that break. You still had to walk away.
That's true.
Do you ever walk away? If you're watching a TV show and you took 7 months off, if you took 7 months off Game of Thrones, not that I'm a fan of the show, but people would be like, you're mad. What is it? Not entertaining. It's not keeping you there. There's not, feeling the need to walk away from it for 7 months. Do you think that's a problem with the community, or do you think that was just more personal, your personality and stuff? I know we've talked about this before.
You guys know, you're all content creators. You can look in your YouTube creator studio and you can see the little videos that they send you to keep you kind of motivated. You know those little videos?
I don't watch any of that bullshit, but yeah.
I know, I don't watch them either, but there's every so often there's one about how to avoid creator burnout. You've seen that one? Or not seen but you've seen it come up in your little creator studio. Yeah, so it's a common thing, creator burnout. And what happened with me, it was just stupid drama that I got sucked into like a void. And my show, I try to avoid the drama, but this one sucked me into the vortex of stupid drama, and it was a learning experience. Since then, I think you guys have noticed, a few of my fans have even come in, Jim, you're really kind of stoic regarding, when drama comes, it's like water on a duck's back for you now. And I think I have made some changes, and it's a learning process. Every show, every upload, you should be learning something. And if you're not learning, 4 years, I should have, at the very least, learned how to avoid stupid drama or sidestep it or not perpetuate it.
Yeah, like not to again bring this up from what was earlier and stuff, but the topic we were going to talk was quite controversial. Neither me nor Michael or may have not known exactly what it was about, and controversy and drama, and there is examples in the community at the minute which could be used to describe this topic that we're not going to talk about, which is wonderful. I'm doing this so secretively, right? But the reason that I'm doing it that way is because as I emotionally ranted at fucking David during DMs, it was like, oh, fuck you. I don't do drama. I don't get myself involved in that. It's not something that... It's probably hurt me, clicks and views and sort of ways and things like that. And the numbers will tell you. You do debates, you do fights, and you catch a dumpster fire and you get bigger people watching. But trying my best to stay out of the drama... Telling people to literally go fuck themselves and stick your drama up their arse, and people that have power. That particular person I told to go and fuck themselves and stick their drama up their fucking arse, and I don't give a fuck who they are and what power they have in the community. It's take that, fuck off. It's not something I want to do, but. Again, now I'm just ranting. I'm just in a...
No. Okay, so you bring up an interesting point here, that the kinds of things that a lot of people will find entertaining and the kind of thing that will generate a lot of views are not necessarily the things that would make a lot of, we'll call it, meaningful progress toward
towards the goals that everybody stands and says, we want to achieve this, and this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick on Tangelo along with Richard Mattson and then throw them in with some fucking Matt Dillahunty and watch what happens. That doesn't progress us forward or doesn't stand for the things that we're trying to say.
Right, and the things that are important, like, because right now one of the big dilemmas here in the city where I live in is there are a number of schools that are they're Catholic schools and Christian schools, right? Okay, the question is, do they get government funds? And as much as we would like to say no, separation of religion and government, they are a religious institution, they get no funds from the government. You know what? These kids are going to graduate from high school, go to college, and interact in our communities. The way they are educated now will affect me and my community 5-10 years from now. So seeing though that it's a religious education, can we make an argument that says they still deserve some government standardization and government funds, because that's going to... Now, this is a dead boring conversation to have. I get that. I'm watching the other 5 of you fall asleep here. This conversation is going to be had at school board meetings. It's going to be had at city council. It's going to be had at the Archdiocese of Cincinnati. But it's a dead boring thing to bring up. How do I make that exciting enough to engage people in that fight? Mm-hmm. Because I'm guessing from Cincinnati's having that problem, but I'm guaranteeing you that other places around the world are having that problem also.
Yeah, so it's interesting. See, in Canada, there is no official separation of church and government.
Okay.
The supremacy of Almighty God is recognized in our Constitution. And we have there's the Catholic Church, Catholic schools are funded through public funds, and in as much as and my wife and I talk about this sometimes, because my wife went to Catholic high school. She said she believes she got a very high quality education from it, and I'll struggle with it personally, because I'm like, you're teaching idiocy in some of these classes. Like, I mean, just cut out the religion class because it's bollocks. But with something, and I'd echo something that you said, Puck, in that I want an educated populace. So put money into it, so that there aren't idiots graduating from high school. So I personally don't find it a dead boring conversation. I get, maybe it's because I have more, I'm impacted by it a little bit more, being in Canada. I'm not sure about other places like MathPig. I'm not sure whether or not there is religious funding for faith-based schools in Ireland. I'm just not sure.
I'm not too sure myself in England. I know a few problems and controversies have been brought up. I think last year there was something in Birmingham about a religious-based school, but over here we have the Catholic Church funds all the Catholic schools.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. You have to be christened to get into fucking Catholic school. You have to have a religious degree to actually teach in a Catholic school over here. We do have government-run schools which are mixed. We would refer to them as integrated schools over here, but it's still segregated like black and white over here as it was in America between Catholics and Protestants to a certain extent. So we have government-funded schools, and then we have Catholic church-funded schools.
Yeah, and it is the same way in Canada to a certain extent. Like, in order for a child to go to a Catholic school, one of the parents has to be Catholic.
Well, it goes further than that, that they have to actually be christened Catholic over here.
It's not, to the best of my knowledge, that's not the case here.
Yeah.
Just they have to have a Catholic parent. Like with my wife, it was only her father who was Catholic, and that was enough.
If I can just address, on Tanslow, I don't know why you're commenting on this, that, and the other, and all the rest of it. I appreciate you being here, man, and all the rest of it, but you trying to get into a show about what atheist content creators are, their goals, and what our opinion is of the community. Yeah, we may agree on some stuff, and yes, our opinions are the ones we're talking about, because it's not a Christian thing at the minute, you know. Maybe later we'll have a fight. We'll bring you in. But right, no point in arguing and trying to get into the conversation now, because it's not a topic that's actually relevant to you. Although, thank you for being here.
Yeah, in the U.S., the most of the religious, well, all of the religious schools are private schools because they are not federally funded, and they run the gamut as to how good they are. Some of the really good schools in this country are religious schools. However, there are certain topics within those schools that you will not get a very good education on. And I know this from having done a bit of research on it when I sent my own kids to school, because I was still a believer when I sent my kids to school, and I sent them to Baptist schools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Robin actually graduated from an Episcopalian, or I'm sorry, not Episcopalian. Gosh, I can't think of the word now. But anyway, they're both Protestant denominations. And the quality of education at those schools were considered superior to that of the government schools. However, there are certain topics that you're not going to get. When it came to evolution, they taught you just enough evolution so that you could pass the state exams. But they also told you at the same time why it wasn't true. And even in Robin's science teacher in high school was so far as to be a climate change denier. And, you know, how do you have someone teaching science that doesn't believe in climate change? And yet, at the same time, this was one of the best schools in the city.
Probably very well funded. Everybody puts the collection plate around, you know, it's... Yeah, there's lots of money in church. There's enough money to send my granny out 120 quid at Christmas and a fucking check. The woman still hasn't fucking checked. It's old people and their fucking forgetfulness. But yeah, you know.
Godless, is it also true that, because I've seen it in the news, but this is something I haven't followed closely, is that there are people who will try to, who will remove their kids from the secular school system and want, you know, whatever tax credits and stuff to go along with that, to be funneled back into the, right.
Yes.
Which just lowers the quality of public education.
Yes. And that is a huge debate
So
right now.
that is a thing. I wasn't aware that it was totally a thing.
It's only in certain states, and it's vouchers. It's a voucher system. And there is one good argument in its favor, which is that if I am paying tax dollars to send my child to school, why can't I direct my tax dollars to go to the school of my choice? Why does it have to go to the government school? But on the other hand, you know, the government school is the tax supported school.
Interesting. Well, I guess for the same reason why you can't decide when you pay, you know, gas taxes, which roads get fixed.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like rocket science.
You are, as you said, Granny, you're very new into the community. You've only been in the round for whatever length of time it is. You're doing very, very well, though.
Thank you.
We have to say that you've had a nice big rise on the graph. We could all watch the graph and see it go up. Statistics don't lie. Now, I'm going to ask a direct question and be fucking ignorant. And this is me just being me. Don't hold it against me. I just sound like an asshole. You've been very lucky in the connections that you've made. You've been very lucky in the people that you've talked to who have stature in the community. Do you think that helped? Do you think it's your content, or it's your content that the people have been involved in?
Okay, I think it's a combination of both. The other people in the community are what launched me. They put me on the map, but then I had to have the content to keep them there. So it's been a combination of both, but I could not be where I am today without the help of Shannon Q, Vice Trino, Paula and Matt Dillahunty.
All right, we're all
And
name
oh,
dropping.
and
That's all right.
Goggles
Well, I've got
Engineer.
Jim Hall on my show now and Puck. All right, they're on the panel now. Okay. But no, it is. It's the people in these communities. Now, Matt, ACA, Vice Rhino, 60,000. I absolutely love Vice Rhino. I'm about 4 videos behind at the minute, but what I usually do with his is I stock up about a 2 hours worth and then just sit down and watch them. And he's one of the only channels, he's the only channel in the atheist community that I have watched every single fucking video for. You know, I find his videos very entertaining, very educational as well. And from his point of view, I can see the goal. Now, I'm not going to speak for Vice Rhino, but everybody knows his content is young earth creationism, and that's his background, and that's where he's going from, you know, coming from. And a channel like that, which has the entertainment value, it has, you know, as much as people like to see our fucking faces on screen, flashy pictures and nice animals and things like that, they're good too. The way he edits his videos is very, very good. You know, it's an entertaining show to watch that also educates. And I find someone that would be like Vice Rhino or Dr. Josh and Digital Hammurabi that started in our community but have an actual something that can move the community forward. You know, Dr. Josh is his education in Old Testament and things like that, and we all need to know more about that if that's your thing, and it's good to know it. You've got Vice Rhino, he gets into genetics, and it's actual scholarly, you know, entertainment. It's like, this is the way it is in this field because I've spent fucking 2 hours, 6 hours researching this one thing for my video. You know, there's background there. Another channel I like watching is Religion for Breakfast, if anyone's ever watched it. And it's a very good channel because it's entertaining and scholarly based. You know, that's where I think, that's why that retains my, you know, attention. I don't want to watch the same debates over and over. These things, as Puck says, having information to go forward and talk to someone about. A lot of the people you meet in the street, if they're going to be very religious, especially in America, you can talk Bible till them all day long. They're going to tell you you're wrong. Your interpretation is wrong. This, that, and the other is wrong. If you go to them with scholarly, actual, this is the way it is, they'll probably still tell you you're fucking wrong. But that's not your interpretation. That's, you know, not to make a fallacy, David, appeal of authority, but, you know, we do have to go back to the authority sometimes. And that is the way it is, rather than giving, I don't know. I'm in a ranty mood tonight.
The
no,
way
but it's
that I
true.
was-
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. Go.
The way that I was able to get the attention of some of the bigger content creators was entirely by accident. Shannon Q talked about how Ken Ham declared her to have made a new religion of sexual humanism, and she was the high priestess of sexual humanism. I crocheted Shannon Q a blanket, and it's a huge blanket. It'll cover a queen size bed, and I wrote "sexual humanist" on it, and I sent it to her. And she was
That's
so
amazing.
impressed with that blanket that she told Paula Gia about the blanket. And so when I launched my channel, Shannon Q is the one that sent out the word that, hey, Granny's putting on a new channel.
I can just address something in the chat. Kafefi, if that's how you pronounce it. Not necessarily. I believe evangelical scripture is very important to discerning the original intent meaning of scripture. I would agree that everybody who's going to have this conversation about religion needs a basic religious knowledge, needs a basic comeback for this, that, and the other. But as Michael pointed out earlier, it's the same arguments that keep repeating. So you don't need to keep educating yourself on the same thing. The arguments haven't changed. We go forth with the same thing. Scholarly and education and science and this, that, and the other. And when you go forward with evidence, these things get updated regularly. It's what science is. It gets better with time. You know, some Christian
Robbie.
boys say, yes.
Cafe would have a point if all hermeneutics and exegesis were homogenized, if they all were on the same sheet of music. But you ask 100 believers the exact same question, you're going to get 100 different interpretations. So that falls flat on its face.
I'm on with Otangelo right now, trying to convince him that feeding the poor is absolutely consistent with Christian values, and he's not buying it.
Yeah, it's interesting, but we touched and to touch more on somebody that's been mentioned is Dr. Josh. He's been on our podcast, I think, 5 times now, and he is, said tongue in cheek, a godsend to the atheist community. He has done so much. He and his lovely wife Megan to educate, that their contributions. I don't think you can overstate them. He brings not only the education, and the knowledge behind him to back up the things that he says, but he's also one of the kindest human beings I've ever encountered. And I think that goes a long way, because atheists can easily be vilified by those in the religious communities, and Josh just tears that to shreds because he's just so unbelievably nice.
David.
Yeah, and you know what? I think one thing, like going along with that, it's like I understand that a lot of us go through the angry atheist phase, and I understand that a lot of us feel lied to and betrayed and genuinely hurt in a lot of cases, right? But and going back to the dumpster fire conversation, it's a lot of fun watching someone actually giving back what we got, right? And I think some of the relief that we get from these dumpster fires is because someone else is giving back in a way that we never got to fight back against this.
I will agree with you to that, Puck, right? I've had people on the channel quite recently, and I wouldn't say it's an experiment or anything like that, but I've been interviewing people and I'm like, right, we'll get some crazies on. We'll see how the crazies do. I've had the reincarnation of Judas Iscariot that after 3 days in acid believed he was God. He was 2 weeks ago. I had a guy that couldn't fucking sin. He was last Monday. I wouldn't say use these people, but bring these people on. This is why we're doing this, and then let it move on. And Knock, I love you dearly and all the rest of it, but Knock's had this guy 3 or 4 times back on the channel. He's now doing open panels where everybody can have a go, and it runs for 7 hours, and he gets 600 fucking views, and it's as funny as fuck, right? Every now and again you flick through it, you see this, but it's the same guy answering the same thing to just different people. And I don't see the point in it. I don't see how it moves us forward, because I'm in the live chat, I'm looking at the people, and the only people in the live chat are us. The people who agree with Knock and are looking at this purely for entertainment, purely for a bit of banter. It's
now in Knock's defense, he did have there were some heavy hitter Christians who came on to kind of lay the smackdown onto the preacher, and I have to admit I've been tempted to reach out for conversation, but in the interest of reducing, as Jim said, the drama, I've avoided it, because I don't think you can have.
The preacher actually one of the preacher's fucking minions reached out to me, and I was like, anytime if he wants to come on, I didn't go looking for him, he came to me. Yeah,
I think he's and I don't know this, but I think he's loving the airtime.
Oh, absolutely. Remind me, hold on. We'll just do this. Crazy guy. Absolutely crazy guy. Now the audience can hear me again. Yeah, completely crazy and utterly madman. Everybody likes it now and again. It's a bit of fun to have the dumpster fires. I do have them on. I'm not saying I'm immune to it, but having them back and back, it's just a repeat.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna. This is something I've been thinking about for a long time, and I'm gonna come out on your channel with it, whether or not you guys agree with this or not. I'm beside, but I'm going to come out with it, that I am no longer going to vilify Christians just based on the fact that they are Christian, and I am also going to hold the other people who I can accountable to that. Just because someone identifies as a theist, or of any kind, does not necessarily mean that they are an enemy. The people who are an enemy to me are the people who are causing the problems in society and who are doing nothing to help solve them. We have bigger things to worry about than no offense to the people who like it, the kalam. Okay, because I want you to go straight to the food bank. I want you to go straight to the places where people are hungry and need clothes, because winter is coming. Okay, not to go all Game of Thrones, but winter is coming, right? And I want you to go over there to the people who are trying to help and say, you know what? I think it's more important for us to discuss the is-ought dilemma right now instead of feed you guys.
I don't think I could agree with you anymore. I think that I don't think it's wise to just, to just vilify the person because of what they believe. To take a step, so I don't despise Steven Anderson because he's a Christian. I despise Steven Anderson because there's videos of him standing at a pulpit saying, if I could kill a homosexual, if every time I push this button, a homosexual would die. Of course, he didn't use language like that. I'd push it till my finger broke. That's why I vilify him, because he's human garbage. But in and of a person being a believer, that in and of itself is not a good reason to hate someone. So I totally agree.
No, I
Who
would
else is
agree with
with
him. Yeah,
May I jump in?
he had people for being an asshole.
It'd be nice if somebody disagreed with me. Come on. Okay, because the thing is, where there's always going to be people who stand up and stand out, and counter apologetics are fantastic for this. I'm not putting down counter apologists at all. That is an absolutely necessary fight, and some people choose to have this fight in the battlefields of philosophy, which I'll never understand, but whatever, because that's where they're engaging with us also. So there absolutely need to be people who go out there and say, well, premise one fails because you haven't proven that the universe has a beginning. Okay, as dead boring as that conversation is for me, it's important because that's how they defend their faith, right? I don't know. I'm more concerned about the more immediate, the more tangible. People are getting hurt. Okay, those are the people that need help right now. We can settle our theological differences later. Let me make sure I feed you first.
I
Mic drop.
That's one of the.
I got an extension of
That's
my
what-
mortgage, and the first fucking thing I did was send a particular person in the community £200 because they were going to be fucking homeless if they didn't get that within the next 6 days. That's and I'm not saying that because that's, oh, look at me, we need to be helping people. We need to be reaching out to people who need help, finding the people who have, who want to talk, who need suicide fucking watch, who are alone, who are depressed, who are going to be homeless, who don't have food on their fucking table. Make a donation to your local fucking food bank, as Puck says. Do these things and help out the people that you fucking can. It's...
Yeah, and there are people who don't have the capacity to do what you did, MathPig. I can't give $200. But maybe I can volunteer.
I usually come.
But maybe I can volunteer some of my time, like with one of the guys that I've with the ACA that I've had just an unbelievable amount of respect for is Phil Sessions. I mean, the guy is he is the volunteer commander of all time. With the things that he does, like the Atheist helping the homeless and the ramp projects and all these other things that he does, just unbelievable. Makes the little bit that I'm able to do look like nothing. So you can definitely do, and it doesn't have to be monetarily. If you can do monetarily, that's great. But doing is certainly an important thing. So I totally agree with Puck on that as well.
You guys are making this really boring by just agreeing with me all the time.
This is it, right? David, right? I want to hear David's opinion. He's been very, very quiet for a while, and then I rant on for another bit.
Yeah.
Sure thing. So, Puck touches upon a really important overarching point. It's not so much that we may agree or disagree on the substance of what we're talking about, but we should be spending more time promoting the conversation in the first place. So even if we're saying something as rational as feed children or take a vaccine, people aren't listening to us because they have already determined, possibly through our actions, possibly through their bigotry, that we are not worthy of even having the conversation in the first place. So our aim and objective, I propose, should be promoting healthy conversation. Now that may be with people we fundamentally disagree with, but if you talk to anybody in the community, from former white supremacists to people who were Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, whatever it is, the only reason they got out was because they were questioned relentlessly on their beliefs. And so before we get into the substance of what we should do concerning these very valid concerns over children, vaccines, women's rights, trans rights, whatever it may be, it's the conversation itself. So, to conclude,
you've only just started and you've only talked like twice. Don't be fucking concluding yet. Keep
and
going.
I've already answered your question. Good night, everybody. So, the most important thing in order to achieve that goal is to promote people valuing having healthy conversation with people they disagree with. And we must be engaging in conversations with people we disagree with on a regular basis. Now, Jim's just put something wonderful, and I'll let him talk about what he just put in the chat.
Yeah, definitely.
About all the different types of channels, to just introduce what he is saying before he says about it. There's a whole spectrum on in atheism. There are people that are sort of on the fringes, they're just about to come out. There's people that have just come out and they need to find some sort of kinship and find stories similar to theirs that they weren't sure, am I the only person who's ever experienced this? No. And then there's all the people on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, which is the people like me that just really don't care, and we really want to just kick on with our lives and social issues and, you know, having fun, providing some sort of alternative so we don't have to just constantly blinker ourselves to all of this very heavy topic of discussion about theology or whatever it may be. But yeah, Jim.
Well, does any of the, I don't want to list all 8 of the types, the broad.
You don't have to go.
channels.
You can, Jim.
Yeah,
Right? Go on.
No. If any of these catch your eye, do you want me to just wave top all 8?
Yeah, well, you don't need the
Okay.
descriptions because I think the titles
Right.
are pretty much.
Here's all 8. Here's the 8 types of atheist channels as I see them, and I was just throwing spaghetti on the wall a couple hours before the show. All right, first, in no particular order, the activist channel. That's the events and protest, calls to action. The deconversion attempt channels, like Neil 604 is the first one that comes to mind. These are deconversion stories pointing out flaws in religions, why you left religion, support system for the newly deconverted. The third is drama merchants. These are the toxic ones. They perpetuate feuds, they create division. Education channels. This is a broad one, but it's a desire for truth no matter where it leads. I think maybe I'm kind of more in there than anywhere else because if you've admitted you're wrong more than maybe 5 times a year, you're probably in one of these where you're actually seeking the truth no matter where it leads. You could actually become a believer instantly. You could turn on a dime. You're that open-minded. The 5th is social outlet channels. This is long conversations. It might not always be atheist related. It's a bonding. It's a a feeling of belonging. Just a social related. And
Can I be a 5 then?
What was it?
Can I be a 5? That sounds nice. I like to be.
Well, when I don't take it the wrong way because every channel bleeds over into others. You're not one in particular, but your channel would be a social outlet mostly. I think. I think that's.
I think we're
but it does.
Yeah.
It fosters a sense of community. The viewers really get engaged with that type of channel. All right, number 6 is the narcissist channel, and I'm not going to name those. And I can think of 5 right off the top of my head, where and it's usually someone very, very attractive, and they use it to their advantage, and they take more selfies than they do upload content, and it's all about views and clicks and subs, and I want to make money at it, and usually they supernova within the first year when they realize you can't really make a lot of money at this. And the 7th one is example setting channels, the ones that just want to say, hi, I'm an atheist, I don't have horns growing out of my head, you know, I'm among you, I'm a nice guy, that kind of thing, setting the example and putting a positive face on atheism. And the last one is pure debate channels, modern day debate. And I say channels like that are lazy and easy to make. They are. It's hard to book guests, as the type of guest you want. That there is difficulty there, but for the most part, it's kind of a fire and forget type of channel where all you do is, okay, we're gonna debate, like formal debates, like modern day debate, and some other ones. Great debate community. Yeah, those are the 8.
I think that covers pretty much them all. Yeah, obviously we're in the mood and we're doing this, and all. Somebody could throw one out that we haven't thought of, but I think that covers a wide range of them all. I'd like to be a 5 with a touch on a few others, but yeah, social and community. I think, as Michael said exactly before we went live, in the actual, there's not enough humanism in the humanist community. You know, for the humanist part of the atheism There's not enough humanism in it, you know. Thank you, Cryptomania, for becoming a pork scratching. Appreciate it. Members and Patreons and all that there. That money that I have, the Patreon money, you know, half of that is mine. Patreon helps. It's anything that goes towards the channel generally goes back out again to help the community. So thank you very much, Cryptomania, Maria. Yeah. Hopefully I said that correctly.
Yeah, I
Can I
think that's
quickly say
actually
as well?
Go-
Can we
go.
make Puck a mod?
Me. You know what? I have to apologize because the conversation seems to be going just fine over there, and I've been just like letting it all out in the chat. I throw it in here because I don't want to take up too much of the round table's time, so I've just been eating in there. I haven't earned moderatorship in this chat yet. I don't believe. By the way,
Neither
my
did
channel
I.
is a 5.
I respect that. I respect your answer, Puck. That saves me having to actually go forward with that. Yes, appreciate that. Moderator status is earned, except if you're an absolute and utter crazy Christian, you get it for one night, because sometimes people, you need a bit of protection for the other mods, not kicking them out. But yeah, Puck will get a mod. Puck just needs to turn up like 2 more times and like send me a nude.
I haven't earned it yet. let me earn my stripes here.
Yeah. I'd be waiting on the nude. Yeah.
I was basing that on the whole community, not just this channel. So it's obviously your choice.
No. But that's something as well. Is you know, people get moderator status just for being in it. It's just it just makes you blue. It really doesn't do much except make you blue and allow you to post links. That's all it really does. There has not been a single fucking comment in my chat tonight that has been blocked. I don't block comments here. I don't block people. I will block sock accounts. If you come in and it's you and you're an asshole and I kick you out for 5 minutes and you can't wait fucking 5 minutes and come in with your 6 soccer accounts, they will be banned permanently. If you're going to come here and speak and spout and be an asshole or say your bit, you come in under who we know you as. Don't come in under no disguise. Don't come in under anything like that. You know, trolls get no respect here. Come and be who you are and be honest.
Yeah, I think the whole wrench thing is interesting. Oddly enough, I think I only have wrenches on 2 channels. One of them is Nox channel, The Rage, and I got that. I'm not sure why he gave it to me. And then the other one is on Standing for Truth's channel, where I had said, hey, you know, do you mind if, you know, can you toss me a wrench for 5 minutes so I can post a link, like you said? And he just never took it back.
Oh, I could totally have fun with that.
But for the most part, I don't want that kind of responsibility. Like I would rather just you know, weigh in and stuff and be a little bit more laid back rather than have to monitor what's going on. That's probably just because I'm lazy.
I am the
But I do
worst
think that
mod
the
ever.
list-
I am a mod nearly in every fucking channel I go to, except for Godless Grannies. I have to log in under my sock because she modded my sock instead of actually modding me, which is quite funny.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's funny because it's like a MathPig sock, same icon, different name, but it's the one that got modded rather than my actual one. But yeah, I'm the shit mod. I literally let pretty much everything through. I will let 99.999% of everything through.
I modded almost everybody when I did the bigotry bingo because everybody that wanted to play had to be a mod so they could put links that we could put up for the bingo game. And I ended up modding a lot of people for that.
Right. Well, I think if people want to hang about, I know there's other people that want to join into the conversation. We've had Savage Minnow sitting in the background, and
I'll bow out, Robbie.
Oh no, you don't have to.
It was fun
No,
coming.
No.
Oh, really?
I need to bow out anyway.
Well, that's what it was. Yeah. If anyone needs to bow out, but you don't have to, Jim. I've secretly been running a 10-person hangout the entire time on Tanslow. I'm sorry, I lied. Evil atheist. You're just gonna have to wait.
Let me bounce then. These people want to get in. I spoke my mind.
You can Jim. You can stay. We have
topic-
we have 2 more slots available and Savage Whipping. Savage
This topic
Whipping.
was about your goal for the channel, and so I
I was
listed
going to say,
8
we'll
types
do a
of
roundup,
channels.
right? I want to work my way around the room. David Worley, right? Been off for a while, got the book coming out, dumped the city life and moved to the farm. Where do you think you're going to take this? That's a life-changing moment, so to speak. It's not an existential crisis, but it's a life-changing moment to go and do something like that. Are you going to take that to the channel? Do you think it's going to give you a different point of view? You know, more so when you're in the community and in the country. The reason I'm saying this is because country life is community life, city life, nobody gives a shit about the neighbour. And I'm broad brushing like a motherfucker. But
yeah, I don't think it play into it at all. I think other topics and reasons I'll go over the whole sort of quote unquote burnout in the book, but it feels for me like that aim and objective has now become clear. So when I started the podcast, it was because I went to America, met some crazy people. I mean, Americans, right? So they were just very interesting, and I hadn't been around those sorts of people before. So I wanted more conversations like that, and ended up getting in touch with people like David Fitzgerald, who then got me in touch with people like Aaron Ra, Dan Barker. That snowballed into Alex O'Connor, and it just went from there. And that whole pursuit for 160 podcasts was trying to educate me, but also just have that conversation public so others can enjoy it as well and get something from it. But it was primarily just for me, so I could gain a wider perspective on atheists from different religions that had come from different backgrounds and had different similar experiences. Does that make sense? Whereas now, having done that, it seems like there seems to be a sort of larger calling, as it were, to try and lead the conversation, set an example for others, and try and encourage healthier dialogue where, again, without going into the previous topic that we were going to discuss, there are certain issues that I find within atheist circles that I didn't see when I joined. And I want to somehow address that. And so my other point I was going to make was that Simon Sinek would make speeches about infinite games, which means people don't realize that we're not here to win against the Christians, right? That's the biggest mistake we could make. This is an infinite game. This game will still be here. In 2,000 years, people will still be irrational. People will still be thinking silly things. The religions might change, but this is a constant battle between reason and sort of non-reason, as it were, or liberalism and illiberalism. And so it seems to me that I now need to promote as much healthy conversation as possible, where people value not just the conversation, but value reason, value critical thinking, value logic, value the scientific method, because these things work, they make stuff happen, and it improves people's lives. In that way, we'll probably, hopefully, if there is another unfortunate pandemic in the future, we can avoid there being so many anti-vaxxers. We can avoid there being so many irrational individuals. Does that make sense?
David, I have to say you haven't spoke much, but when you did,
I know everybody's like in stunned silence.
It's all about the quality over the quantity when it comes to David, like, you know. Godless Granny, have you anything that you would like to add, round up, or add just at the end?
Not that I can really think of at this point. I definitely agree with Dave. That we need to be elevating the conversation so that we can have the conversation. I myself am guilty of, at least on Twitter, of getting upset with people who make ridiculous accusations against me, and then, if you want to have a future conversation with you, that avenue has been destroyed.
Yeah. No, I find that's. Again, because I've picked on Knock already, I'll pick on him again. He has trouble sometimes getting other Christians on. After a while, they won't come on. You can't keep having them on and shouting at them. They're not going to come back. Mm-hmm. That's why I try and find as best I can. I would like to consider Spartan one of my, online sort of closest friends. We banter back and forth in DMs. He sends me pictures of his kids. I send him pictures of my wee girl, There's a level that you go to with that. you know, with a friendship, with an online, you know, with a relationship, like, and it doesn't bother me that he has these beliefs, and it doesn't bother him that I have these beliefs. We have a nice banter back and forth, and we laugh at the crazies together because he's fucking sensible. But it's about building bridges. It's about getting to that point. I think Antangelo comes back here often enough. Maybe 40% because he's a troll, but 60% knows because he'll not get timed out. He'll not get shouted at. He'll get a bit of free reign here, you know. And we have to stop being so much of an asshole to the other side, because we're just being what they call them out to be. You know, we're being as bad as them. David mentioned earlier that he sees as many atheists making fallacies as he does fucking Christians. I'm paraphrasing, not a direct quote. But, you know, we're as bad as each other. We just have different directions. We need to start taking that shit out of it. Taking emotion out of the conversations. 3 of us on the panel know about this earlier today. And actually look at what the person's trying to do. What are they trying to say rather than what is their intentions? You know, don't assume intentions till you ask the fucking person. Anybody else hadn't had a chance would like to say it, Michael?
Yeah, although now I'm mad at you and Granny because you stole my thunder when you said elevate the conversation.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just messing around. Because that's where I think there's a lot of opportunity, and it's been said, I think, by everybody at a different time in a slightly different way. And you know, you can throw the old saying, more bees with honey than with vinegar, and you know that we have the capacity to, you know, by exposing just because we expose our underbelly a little bit, and I maybe have a bigger underbelly than some, but exposing the underbelly a little bit can actually get people into to have that conversation. Maybe drop their defenses a little bit, to be open, to having what may turn out to be a tougher conversation. And I think the other thing is that I think something that would be useful is for atheists when they have these conversations, don't think, and I'm not going to accuse anyone specifically of doing this, but don't think that you have the power to deconvert someone, because you don't. At least that's my opinion. At least we don't have that kind of power. We can plant the seed, we can have the conversation, and I think in some cases, I think we can also lead by example. The one thing that I will say somewhat arrogantly is that I think there are a lot of Christians that can learn from some atheists when it comes to things like morality. And so I think, again, elevating the conversation and being generally a good human being. There's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, on that topic, Michael, it's, I don't think I'll ever convince anybody directly, to jump from God to being an atheist. But as you say, man, the only thing that we can strive to convince them of is that logical and critical thinking is a better way to go. And if you say, we set that seed in their mind, they then take their own steps, take their own route, take their own journey. Hopefully, from our point of view at the end, they end up with a better critical mind, possibly out of religion, possibly seeing the problems with it and change the world in the real world politically and all that bollocks that we've been talking about. But it's planting the seed of making them think. It's planting the seed of getting that person to ask questions. I don't come here to convince you of anything. I come here to get you to ask questions.
And I need to take off, and I know that you've got guests in the back room waiting to get in, so I'm going to take off. But thank you very much for asking me, and thank you for having me on.
No bother. On that note, we will all say bye. The after party is booked. If one of my mods can grab the link, or you're going to make me do that myself because I did it about. Yeah, after party link is coming right now. Copy, and it's there. Right, everybody bounce over there. We might have Montangelo on. We're definitely going to have Savage because she's been sitting in the background screaming at me for like the whole show. She nearly took her top off a minute ago. I don't know what she was doing there. She was like, got up and like, I don't know what was happening. But after I'm getting this. But yeah, I will go to the go to the after show. I'll post the link in the after show. I think Antangelo wants in, and I think Simos is going to jump in. And then seeing as we've got Savage, that'll leave us with one open slot if anyone wants to join in. But yeah, I thank you everybody for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, David, for sparking a conversation. I'm still going to blame you for this topic, even it was still your fault. So that's why you're on the thumbnail.
This was technically the question that I wanted to discuss anyway.
Oh, fine. Puck.
Next time, just give me more warning because like I ran out of. So just I need like more than a.
Man, I couldn't even find your fucking Twitter because you're on Twitter as Puck, but then when you go looking for your it's the one and only or the whole. I don't know what the fuck it is. I had to like search down through my retweets to go and find you, whatever and all.
Yeah, I tried to stand out. That's why I go by like this punctuation of Puck, because if you just search for Puck, you're gonna find like a whole bunch of things that have nothing to do with me. If you search for this, you find me.
Oh, there you go.
The only reason I spell it this way is to game the algorithm.
Oh, yeah, no, I
literally
totally get that. That's why there's 11 MathPigs, and I only own 10 of them. Some bastard stole 11.
Sweet.
If you search for this in YouTube,
Fucking
the only thing you're
Dave.
going to find are my videos and the videos of the singer Pink, because there are sometimes when she spells her name P
with an exclamation point.
CK or NK. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just to game the algorithm. This is literally the only reason I go by this name.
Yeah.
Well, there you
I'll
go.
post
That makes
my-
it easy.
Yeah.
Can't go
I'm gonna put my
wrong.
email in here. Open invite. Anybody that wants to come on the podcast. Love to have each and every one of you.
Yeah, let's hang out.
Yeah, well, I've been hanging out
Sure.
in Puck's for a while. Puck's stream is a perfect time for my, like, I'm on my lunch or I'm on my way home, or your stream is a perfect time for me. And then there's like the 2 or 3 hour period. Purple Rhymes with Orange does a UK stream in this 2 or 3 hour period, which I'm a UK person, which I can't watch because I'm making my dinner, I'm just home, I'm getting washed or whatever, and it's fucking shit for me. Puck has a perfect wee time, so I've been hanging out in Puck's, and we said that we would have you on. And
Thank you.
No, I pulled over at the side of the road today because I remembered you on the way fucking home. It was like, fuck, I was to text Puck the next time I had an open panel. So
And since you're plugging me, every day at 1 p.m. Eastern, which I don't know what that is in Universal Time.
1 p.m. Eastern would be 6 p.m. UK. That would be 12 Central and 11 Pacific.
Right. That's the time I'm on. I'm on there playing video games just as a backdrop. Really, I'm there to have whatever kind of conversation you guys want to have.
Cool.
Link in the down there part.
Yep, links in the down there part. So, on that
And
note,
unlike you guys who have like thousands of subscribers, I have 38. 38. Okay, so at the very least, just go down there, push one button once, and even if you never talk to me again,
Get 'em to
okay,
50.
fine.
Come
I get
on.
it. That's all I've earned from you.
come on, we get him to 50. Everybody get him to 50.
Get
I
me to
don't even
100 so I
have a
don't have to go
YouTube
by a
channel.
random string of characters.
Okay,
I can
right.
actually
Godless
put
Granny needs to
YouTube
leave.
slash
Godless
what the
Granny
fuck.
needs to leave. So we're going to wrap this up and move
Go,
to
go,
the
go,
after
go, go.
party.
Thank you guys so much for having me on here. You guys are wonderful.
Everybody,
Bye, Granny.
don't forget, think for yourselves. Massive shout out to the Patreons. Massive shout out to the members. People, if you didn't fucking watch this, you know, we wouldn't be doing anything, as Puck pointed out earlier. And it's annoyed me because we broke, 21 people watching tonight. I get 50 on this channel, we do a debate. There's 21 people in our community who are interested in this sort of stuff. You know, there needs to be more. Hopefully get some more thing. Savage, would you like to say anything before we quit? Quick, run, go.
Lovely show. You did a lovely show. I quite enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful job, everyone.
Thank you very much. Right, well, on that note, we will do the outro.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and do all that YouTube stuff, yeah. We'll see you at the after party. Think for yourselves, people.